Who are you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5-time the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is the Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the chokes in my face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like country muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the vein, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got two is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, pour another cup. Let's be busy 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. But a square peg in a round hole just never seems to fit. And you
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch. It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the longest-running Australian wrestling podcast. I'm your host, not Lachlan Albert, and joining me, as always, is the man who this very day was hugged by Tony Khan. That means we won't see him for about 7 months. Please welcome Todd Eastman. Todd, how you going, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. He was warm and a gentle lover.
I'm sure he was, but that means you won't be seen for a while, because that seems to be the way it works.
It's because I refused certain storylines.
Yes. Writing MJFs. Never mind. Anyway, today we are going to look at God Save the Renegades. The really, really good, I thought, Renegades of Wrestling show that took place on the recent long weekend of the King's birthday. This is available right now on YouTube. You can go and watch this for free on YouTube. And heck, I advise you do, because the show was great. Todd, let's have a look. Do you want to just go match by match? Let's do that. The first match was the ambush of Jarvis and Murdoch defeating Funtime Phil and JXT. What did you think of this one, Todd?
Good little opener. It was they really sort of, they didn't start out like a house of fire. They started out sort of slow, and that part for me, I was just like, oh, this is dragging a bit, but the finish was really good. Like, going into their finish, the way that they sped, the way that they picked up the pace going into the finish, I thought was really good. It was a really good finish. I also like the fact that being that we watched on YouTube, you saw like the promo leading into it. I would have maybe have liked to seen a promo from JXT and Rig as well, like their side of it. But instead, we just saw all the heel side and them doing the heel shtick. I might have liked to have seen something from those guys just to balance that out. Because it is a very ambush-heavy show.
I understand that. Yes, it was a very ambush-heavy show. But it was also a really, really fun show. Look, I like this as an opener. I think Phil and JXT are so over that, you know, it was always, the crowd was always going to get there. I think you're saying that it took a few minutes for the match to get going. It also took a few minutes for the crowd to really warm into it. But once they did, I thought this was terrific. I would be surprised if they don't revisit this again at some point, because both Phil and JXT are such an integral part of the tag team division, especially together. And they really have nice teamwork, which doesn't surprise because they train a lot of people down there at Mayhem. So go to Mayhem if you're looking at training. Several people do train there already. I like this. Following that, Katie Lux defeated Chanel Phoenix. We hadn't seen Katie for a while before this one, and she came back looking very, very good. I think, Chanel is solid, but Katie looked really, really good. And Chanel put the work in to make her look good. What did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Katie in this one. I thought she was, like you said, I thought she was really good. Chanel wasn't the best, but it was still good. It was a good solid match. I think I just preferred Katie's work a lot more. She seemed like she was a lot more into it than I guess Chanel. But it was a good little match there. It was quick. But it was I liked it. I liked the work from Katie. I thought she was really good. I think she shows a lot of promise.
Of note, a new team. It wasn't 3, so it was less than a stable. But a new team debuted immediately afterwards. Rochelle Rogue and I can't remember. Yeah, the
Charlie
person's
Rose.
name. Yeah, Charlie Rose debuted as a team. They've already been on Renegades, but they haven't been around for a while. I personally think this team's got lots of potential. We saw them again later in the night, having a confrontation with Katie, and then I think Chanel ran out and was also beaten up. So, it's interesting times. There's a lot of. Oh no! You're right.
No, that was later on in the show.
They debuted later.
Yes.
I apologize.
Read the notes, Jeff. Read the notes, son.
We'll come to that. At the moment, I'm not really good at reading, let me tell you. The third match of the night, we unanimously kind of like that one. The third match of the night, Crackerjack defeated Anth Cava with a handshake afterwards. What did you think of this?
This was a really good match. It was another one of that. You know how I think maybe I said before that we didn't really see the Anth Cava that we've seen, like when we've watched Renegades and stuff like that. This was sort of like a more of a rounded like performance, which I really dug. I really like the fact that he's like doing a little bit different stuff, like real wrestling stuff. And I also like the fact that Crackers was doing real wrestling stuff. Like sometimes he can go too far with the hardcore for my taste. And then also he can sometimes go almost too far with the comedy for me with the taste. But this had that nice little delicate balance. When I say like too far for the comedy, it's like the guy, like somebody will be doing something to him and hitting him with something, and he'll crack a joke while the guy's on offense. And that bit for me, that stuff I'm not a massive fan of. I know other people are. I'm just not a massive fan of that. This wasn't really there in this match, which I really dug. It's very much like a back and forward, like quote unquote wrestling match, which I really, really thought was good.
Yeah, I live in the same state as Crackerjack, so you will never, ever, ever, ever hear me criticize him. No, seriously, I we've already discussed. I like what Crackers does. Obviously, I have a relationship with outside of wrestling in terms of my show, and I think he was really, really good in this. The other thing I noted is how much Cava is improving. And he clearly is, because he's getting booked a lot more. He's a lot more sort of, out and about and visible. I really like this. I thought this was a terrific match. I thought the handshake, it can go one of two ways. It can either go with Cava and Crackers forming a begrudging alliance almost, or it can go with Cava turning on him in the very next show. I'm not sure.
I really thought when he shook his hand that Crackers was going to staple gun it.
Yeah, me too.
I really thought that was going to happen. So I was like, oh, okay.
But I did like that they didn't do that. I like that they kept it kind of very, very sort of straight down the line. And in fact, you could see Crackers taking that handshake very seriously. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I'm not joking around about this. I'm giving this guy a bit of a rub.
Yeah, Kid did well. That's why I think he was like, Kid did well.
Yeah, Kid did well. And I think that is nice to see. It's always nice to see that respect. And for a veteran as Crackers is, it must be an honor. It must be kind of nice when someone comes up to him and goes, hey, we want you to give this guy, give this guy the handshake at the end. So
it's good.
Really
it's
nice.
good when you don't see it all the time. Like there are a lot of places, like I think AEW do it a fair bit too, where like after the match they'll do the handshake and all that. And I think they kind of overuse that trope. Whereas like if you use it sparingly and you use it like with good judgment, it can really work well. Which I thought was the case here, because you don't see Crackers doing that to everybody. Like Crackers hardly ever does that. So when he does it, it actually means something. Surprise, surprise. When you do something very rarely, it means something. Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this was, I agree. I also really liked the way the match played out. And the fact that immediately afterwards, they set up a match for next month, which we'll talk about in a minute. We'll talk about that when we come to it. I think that's a really interesting match. After that, the Renegades of Wrestling women's title, Aisha from the Ambush defeated Tali, and as I spoiled earlier, Rouge and Rose. That's great, isn't it? Rouge and Rose attacked Tali, who was saved by Katie Lux. I have a slight concern about this, and that is that the title might become secondary while all of this is going on. And I hope that's not the case. And the reason I say that is because Aisha has become so good in that ring. She wrestled such a good match, and I was really, really impressed with Aisha. I thought absolutely fantastic. And it wasn't short. They didn't, renege on time with this one. They absolutely gave it a fair amount of time, and it was a good match. What did you think, Todd?
Yeah, like it was a really good match. To like counterpoint you, I don't think it's going to do anything to the main title, for the fact that they're just spinning like Tali and Lux off into this for a while. So then like Aisha can go and do other stuff with other girls. Maybe she can even like defend the tag titles on the show, because they mentioned that there was a freebird rule for those tag titles. So like it's a good way for them to do that. There's a good way for them to, because really there's not a really deep pool of women in that division. In Renegades it just isn't. So you've got like Tali, and you've got now Lux, who pretty much, well, we're going to say she debuted back on this show as a sort of regular roster member that we can tell for Renegades. So once like Aisha's sort of gone through Tali, if she just went straight away and then went through Lux, that's just blown through her real only two babyface challenges. This way, like Tali and Lux can go off and they can do singles with Rogue and singles with Rose and interchange, and then do a tag, and then eventually once they've done that, then you spin Katie off into maybe Aisha, while Aisha's worked other things and stuff like that.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I have a concern. So please don't misunderstand me. And you're quite right. I just don't want this amazing work they've done with Aisha and the amazing work she's done herself to then be minimized.
I think with the quality of work that Aisha puts forward, that's not a worry for them.
Yeah.
Because they can put her with other girls, and that match is still going to be a really good match.
I hope so.
It'll be a separate entity to that tag thing. So that's why I'm not really worried about it, because she's doing such good work that I can't see that's... I think the fact that she's doing such good work is the reason they're like, oh, we can do this now, because she can hold this on her own. We don't need this. We can do something else because we're quite comfortable with her being able to handle whatever we throw at her.
Right. You could be right. You could be right. After that, Tyson Reed with Chloe St. James defeats Sam Yanis. What did you think, Todd?
Yeah, this was okay. This was good. There was a lot more. I think this was a lot more more character work. I think is a good way to say it. Especially with like the relationship between Chloe and Tyson. We saw a bit more of that like developing through this match, and it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's kind of hard with this. Like, it's weird because like Sam is in a tag team with. Please remind me his name. Levi. They've not really addressed that on the show because Levi has essentially turned heel and Sam is pretty much a babyface. So they haven't really addressed this at all. It's just that Levi's gone away from Sam and that's it. But yet they still go, but he's got a tag team partner. How would we know that? No one ever mentions it aside from that 5 seconds of a promo we saw from the ambush talking about it. Yeah. And he's a real babyface.
I think they're starting to pull them away from each other, which is fine as long as there's a payoff. So as long as eventually we see some kind of payoff between Sam and Levi, whether it's I don't want anything to do with you, or whether it's let's do this. But I enjoyed this match, and again they're setting up future shows really nicely now, which augurs really well for Renegades because. They for the first 18 months, their shows were very interspersed. We saw them occasionally.
Yeah. Well, coming out of this show, there was
after that.
Sorry, coming out of this show, there was 4 matches set up for the next show.
Yeah.
So that's like over half of your show is already set up coming out of it, which is a good sign.
Which is a really good sign. And we both know the booker of Renegades likes long-term booking. Doesn't like doing intermittent stuff. After that, Gore was supposed to face... I forgot his name. Can see his face
Jake Taylor.
Jake Taylor, thank you. Gore was supposed to face Jake Taylor. Jake, unfortunately, wasn't able to make the show. So up stepped Mad Dog. This was great. This was so good. Fantastic to see Mad Dog in a bit of a high-profile role. And I note that Renegades are asking if we want to see more of Mad Dog. Blatantly. They've got a bit of a poll. They've got, so on and so forth. So I would like to see Mad Dog on occasion. I don't think I'd want to see him monthly, but I'd like to see him on occasion. Certainly coming out like this and having such a great match with the big man was really, really good. So good. And Pario magazine says, no surprise, Gore versus Mad Dog was a banger. And absolutely not. You're quite right. Todd, what did you think of Gore versus Mad Dog?
Well, this was like, I think if this was going to be Jake, Taylor, and Gore, it would have been a completely different match. This would have been a real, like a wrestling, but a hard style sort of wrestling match where this was just a fucking brawl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I say that in the nicest possible way. Like, this is just a fucking brawl. Like, we need someone at the last minute who can come in and just throw bones with Gore. Oh, we'll bring Mad Dog in because Mad Dog doesn't give a fuck. And I swear to God, I think he bled during the intros.
Yeah. Yeah. He came out and was like, oh no, I'm bleeding.
Yeah. It was like, it was a good old school, just like beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. There was no massive like weaponry, but like they were the fucking weapons. Do you know what I mean?
As you said so aptly, they were throwing bones.
Yeah, and like I there are times where I'm not a massive fan of the hardcore stuff, but this sort of stuff I don't mind. It's very like reminds me very much of old like Bruiser Brody, Texas. Old school wrestling where like they just go in there and beat the shit out of each other, which is cool sometimes. Like you can have that on a show. It's that balance of different styles on a show, which was also good because like when the main event was going to be what it was, you couldn't really do hardcore. Like Crackers couldn't have done real hardcore stuff because that's what this whole main event was going to be about. So you had to sort of like, you know what I mean? It's just, but yeah, Gore and Mad Dog just beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. And built up Gore for whoever's going to be coming into him next in July.
Yeah, whoever that is. I've still got no idea. So
I know, but I won't tell you.
I know. I keep asking. But I definitely think Mad Dog should stick around a little bit. As I said, maybe not every month, but bring him out every now and then as a special attraction. He's fantastic. And the reason I say not every month is because they're clearly focusing. They're focusing on Murdoch. They're focusing on Aisha. They're focusing on Jarvis. Tyson.
They're focusing on they're focusing on youth, which is what they should be doing.
Which is exactly what they should do. After this, we saw the coronation. Sorry, a little bit upset here. The coronation of Lockie Hendricks, the aspirationalist, thanks to the sellout that is Sebastian Bloody Walker. This was wild and crazy. This was great. They got so much done in this promo, and then Gino came out and challenged Lockie for the next show in a cage, and did that great line that's always said when someone's setting a cage match. Remember, I'm not locked in there with you, son. You're locked in there with me. I love that. What did you think of this?
I like Sebastian gave us a nice shout out, turning chicken salad in chicken shit into chicken salad. So yes, thanks to that. Thanks for you for that, Sebastian. Do you know what the bit was almost a little bit confusing for me? I still wasn't sure if Sebastian's with Lockie. Do you know what I mean? Because he said when he said I want the world title, and Sebastian's like, well, you know what to do, or you don't need me for that. Do you know what I mean? That's what I was just like, are you guys working together? What's the deal here? I don't understand. I don't quite know.
I mean, to be fair, Sebastian's probably, he might just have come back for 3 or 4 shows and go, yeah, all right, I've done what I had to do. But I do think it's more likely that he's not with Lockie, but he's going to start sending people after G.
Yeah.
So Gino's going to have
if they are doing that, then I would have rather had something like have just Lockie go, thank you for your services, thank you for helping me for this, and then just like, do you know what I mean? So like a nice clean pass off instead of just like, you know what, you don't need me for that, you know what to do, and then they walked off together.
Yeah, but then again, Sebastian could cause Gino to lose, and then he could say, maybe you do need me for that. Because the character of Walker is a very intelligent heel manager. He's never been, an idiot heel manager. No. He's a smart man, is Walker. So I think this is fascinating. And I'm really, really looking forward to We Choose Violence on Sunday, July 28th. I know that the tickets have been moving quite quickly for it. So if you haven't got one yet...
I like the Loverboy line from Gino as well.
Oh, I thought that was great.
That was a nice little touch. And
yes, it was.
When as he was walking off, I'm like, I don't know how they're going to get him to come back. And he said, you'll always just be that little fucking Loverboy, won't you? And that stopped him down. I'm like, very good. Very good, Gene.
Very good. Very, very good. And then we ended the night with tables, ladders, and chairs. Emin Usman defeating Caveman Ugg with Mitch Waterman coming in to surprise afterwards. So Emin Usman, defeating Caveman Egg. I always make that mistake. A shout out to Lockie, who's still currently training for a match against Dusky. He's managed 2 sit-ups now, Todd. 2.
Has he? Oh, that's good.
Yeah. He's getting there.
I think one was just because he had to go to the toilet. So
that was, and the other one was that. The other one was because Mickey offered him food and he had to sit up and grab. I hope you feel better, Locke. In all seriousness, but you should train soon because Dusky's coming.
He coming for you.
What did you think of this main event?
Oh, mate. Like, Caveman Ugg just used Emin as a lawn dart for a lot of this. He just... That side slam into a table. I've never seen a table explode like that for someone going through it before. Because it didn't just break and fall like that. It sort of break and flew outwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It literally exploded when he hit him. He threw him that hard through the table. Which is just like, I was like, holy shit. But they were really smart too with, like, because of the size disparity, and there is a massive size disparity between Caveman and Emin. Instead of just from the bell throwing the rest of, like, the ambush out there with him, for them to be, like, as smart as they were with the sequences they put together to have Emin, like, be able to inflict damage onto Ugg, that was really good. That was really smart. It's kind of like when we talk about, and this is not in any way disparaging Emin at all. This is when we talk about sometimes, like, believability when you watch, like, intergender wrestling. Like, there are certain moves that you just can't do, like some girls just can't do to some dudes, just because of the size disparity. That you wouldn't believe that like, believability that they could do that thing. Sort of the same way with Ugg and Emin, because they're so different in size. Like Ugg looks like something, like Emin looks like something that Ugg had eaten and passed. Do you know what I mean? That's how different they are in size when it comes to it, when they're up against each other. So for him to have any, like, chance at all, they have to be really smart about the offense that they give Emin to slow Ugg down. And that's what they were. They were really, really smart here.
Yeah, look, I agree with you completely. I thought this was such a good match. The fact that they made the size disparity not an issue, which is pursuant to what you're saying, they actually made it believable that Emin was inflicting pain on Ugg. Credit to Ugg, credit to Emin. Emin is a phenomenon. The guy is just so damn good at what he does and so enjoyable. He's got it as a baby face. He's got it as a heel. And the great thing about Emin as a heel is you go, I could take him out. I reckon I could take him out. You couldn't. Let me tell you, you couldn't. He'd know a million ways to hurt you before you even cocked your arm back. But he's got that. He's a little bloke. I could take him out. Great.
Yeah.
Great. I really, really like Ugg. I like the way Ugg works. You often say the words work smarter, not harder, and Ugg embodies that in everything he does. He works smart. He doesn't work hard. I think that we are just seeing the beginning of Emin as a champion. I think Emin is going to be a long-term champ, and I think that he is going to prove to be crafty and difficult to beat. He'll always win with controversy, but each time he does, he's elevating that belt. Have you noticed that almost anywhere Emin is going at the moment to do with Renegades, he's got the belt with him. And he's kind of carrying it like a UFC title. I love it. I think this was terrific. It was nice to see Mitchie after the match come out, because, you know, they did the whole, Emin did the whole, I can't be beaten. I'm under, who's left to beat me? And there's Mitch with the blood in the water. I loved it. I thought this was great.
They did the nice little tease with Levi, where you weren't quite sure if he was going to take the ring off and just take that belt off the ladder, which would have been a neat trick if they'd have done it. I would have quite applauded that, but way too early in the piece for him to do it, of course. And just move that story along where he's just like gaining. If he is going to turn on the guys, this is a big setup. This is still him gaining the trust of the team, which is good as well. And with Mitch coming out, because I'm pretty sure Mitch just appeared in the ring, didn't he? Yeah. He didn't walk down the aisle. He just bang lights come off, bang lights come on, and he was there, which is cool. I like that stuff. One of those things I forgot to say it when we talked about the women's title match. One of my bugbears at the moment, not at the moment, but as I've been developing my theories when it comes to wrestling and sort of stuff like that, and stuff I listen to and take with, the thing I not a massive fan of is when, like, and we'll go back, okay, when the women's title match happened afterwards, when Rogue and Rose attacked Tali and Katie saved them. I hate that her music played before she came out.
I agree with you. That is something that really should be.
It's one thing that I always like when I'm booking our shows and we've planned a run in, like the guy that's in charge of music goes, "Oh, do I line this music up?" No, don't line the music up. So why? So because how are you supposed to know she's running out or he's running out? Unless they come bolting past you, you don't have time to get that music queued up.
Last week we were praising the way Clash at the Castle ended because of CM Punk coming in as a ref, face not being shown, and then the brilliant piece from production. Now,
yes,
imagine how much less impact that would have had if his music played.
Yes.
No. And Call the Personality is a fucking banger. I'll take any opportunity to listen to it. But I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, but it's also stuff with the way they did this with Mitch. It worked really well.
It did.
Because it wasn't just like, I'm going to walk down to the ringside. It was lights go off, music comes on, lights come back on, and Mitch is just in the ring.
Yeah.
I love that. Because even though that's planned, it's planned to make an impact. Whereas a run-in is something where, like, I'm coming, oh shit, I've got to go and help my friend. It's a totally different thing to, you kind of call me out, fine, I was ready for you to do this.
I just want to respond to a couple of things you've said there, because you have said a lot. Levi Nixon, no, don't apologize. You know, it's a conversation. You're going to get to talk. Levi Nixon, it's also your podcast. Of course you're going to get to fucking talk. Levi Nixon, the crowd have gotten behind him doing things like going for the belt. The crowd really want to see it. And I think that has made something really interesting in such a short space of time. Maybe he will turn on the ambush. Maybe he won't. But, geez, the ride is fascinating already. The other thing is, I think this was Mitch's best promo. I honestly think this is some of Mitch's best promo work ever. So much confidence, speaking so clearly. I really like Mitch in ring, but he has had a habit of doing promos and kind of fumbling over his own words and sort of thinking ahead of what he wants to say, and his mouth hasn't caught up with him yet, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I think this was Mitch's absolute, he just nailed it. Silent but violent. You know, he's got this watchability. I loved it.
I love the line, like, you guys like to run around in packs. Well, I know a little bit about packs.
Yeah.
I love that line. I thought that was such a good line. He showed, you know how, like, I can't even remember if we've talked about this on the show. When I was sort of saying, like, he's been, for me, for watching him in, like, MCW and that, he's like the babyface version, or the heel, babyface, the singles version of the Natural Classics.
Yes, you have said that in the show.
Where it's like, looks great, like, fucking walks out, but when the music stops, like, when the music stops, he wrestles, fucking great. In between that stuff, there was just, I didn't really get anything from him. Whereas here, I got personality, I got, like, the anger in his voice, there was some, like, I have a mission and this is what I'm going for. Like, he has, like, it's almost like he has a mission statement, so he's got somewhere he's pointed to and a definite direction to go, so he knows what he's going to talk about now.
Yeah, and his reasoning is solid. His reasoning for going after this is there. It's writ large. I hope he sticks around for a while. I hope he's not, like, here to just give Ammon a rub and then disappear. I hope that we see Mitch for a while in Renegades. And, you know, I'm biased to this because of the history, so, you know, we'll see what happens.
Well, let's face it, they need some, like, main event baby faces. Because they don't really have, like, being that poor, like, Chambers, like, did his knee. I think he was the one that they were like, okay, we're going to give him the long-term run through to be the guy that eventually, like, unseats Emmon. You don't really have that at the moment because you're not sure when he's going to be back.
No.
So they need to bring a Mitch in. They need to maybe find another baby face that they can have like vying for that title, because you can't always keep like say Mitch and then Caveman and then Mitch and then Cave. You can't keep doing those two guys because it just gets boring for the crowd. It gets boring for everybody having to do that. Like, who's it this week? Oh, Emmons against fucking Caveman in this match this week, or Emmons against Mitch. Like, they're doing the right thing at the moment where like Mitch is going to go through. He's going to go through Murdoch. I don't know if he's going to go through Jarvis, because it sounds like they feel like he already went through Jarvis here. But he'll go through them. He'll go through those two. He may even get to go through Levi before he eventually gets to Emin. So that's a good 3 to 4 shows before he even gets a crack or a look at Emin.
And, you know, the other thing that Renegades have done, and we have spoken about this on air, they're not like most of their talent now is from Melbourne. Most of their talent's from Melbourne, which is great. But with Emin doing that, now's the time to also bring in a few, you know, if you want to bring in someone from out of state, bring in someone from out of state. You know, if you're going to bring Robbie in to go, well, you're the champ now, I want that belt. Yes, the feud's kind of done, but that can be reheated in seconds. So, you know, now's the time, if you want to bring a group of baby faces in from other cities, yeah, let's go.
I'd honestly, if I was them, and like, far better booker than I, so I'm not going to go telling him what to do. I would be looking at like PCW and like the guys that are sort of around the top area of PCW, maybe bringing 1 or 2 of those guys in for like quick hit or a quick run and see how they catch on to the crowd.
Well, as Keanu says here, Keanu Reviews, hello, Keanu. They can get JXT to face Emin as a baby face, and yeah, they can. You know,
they can. The only problem with that, Keanu, and it's not really a problem, but the only really problem with that is that takes away because they are pretty much the babyface tag team in Renegades. Because I haven't seen Big Dude Energy there for a while.
I think Ricky's quite busy. Like last time I spoke to Ricky, he was pretty busy on a personal level.
So they're your big babyface tag team. So you go like splitting JXT off to go after Emin, and unless you've got that third person to come in and tag up with Fox, then they've got no babyface tag team, and then you're sort of stuck in the same position you were for an opponent for like Jarvis and Murdoch that you were for Emin. It's sort of like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, that's.
It's sort of like that's why I would be looking at those areas. I'd be looking at like PCW, whoever's a big baby face in PCW at the moment, see what they're like, and go, maybe I'll give this kid a run. Maybe I'll do that. You could even go to a Sydney for a new. I'd be going somewhere like Newcastle.
Yeah, Newey
those guys.
Yeah,
someone that's not quite PWA, but like someone who needs a light on it. Like there's at the moment, and we've talked about this before. I think that even though he is the Newey Pro Champion, I think PWA are massively sleeping on Ben Braxton. Yep,
I agree with you. But although his performance in the Rumble did indicate that they're starting to wake up, and of course crackers can always be like you can always put crackers in a program. Let's not kid ourselves.
You ignorant little shit! Give me that belt.
Yeah, I want that belt, you little bastard. You know.
Yeah.
So you know he'd be very entertaining, and Emin could play very aggrieved quite succinctly and very well. You can tell I've got a vocabulary of the day calendar now, can't you? Anyway. Renegades of Wrestling, next show, We Choose Violent, is on Sunday, July 28th. It's another afternoon show there at the Northcote Theatre.
Sorry, Tim. I just want to like address, like Tim Wilkes says. Oh, sorry, Tim Wilkes says. Well, where am I? I missed it.
There's no lack of talent in Melbourne.
There's no lack of talent in Melbourne. No, you are very right, Tim. But what I'm thinking is not someone who's always on MCW all the time, bringing someone else up, like a new talent, because that seems to be where Renegades are like looking to be their strength is to bringing new people in and blooding them out and like bringing them up, like bringing up the people that aren't really getting a light shone on them. And I think someone like PCW, even though PCW do really well, for the overall picture, they don't really get a huge light shone on them. And so you could do that with one of those guys and be someone new to the overall Melbourne public.
PCW are aligned very closely with MCW. Like, their training facilities are the same. So, not sure that's going to happen logically, but there are enough places. I'm not sure if MJ still does some work with PCW. Keanu's asked, how long does Levi hold the ring for? Well, I mean, I think it's a year. I think it's like the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, because do you see Levi as a legitimate challenger to the title? Like, could you see Levi holding that belt?
It depends. It depends on the storyline. And Keanu, Pario Magazine agrees with you, saying that has been the ethos of Renegades from their foundation. I like people who are somewhat underappreciated or slept on. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, Pario. Keanu's asked again, can Levi go for the tag titles instead? Yes, he could, but it depends on whether he can get on with Sam Giannis. We did, I don't know if you were around, but we did talk about the relationship between Levi and Sam. And Nick said PCW, to be honest, doesn't have that someone that would fit in the main event of Renegades beyond Ryan Rapid, Thorpe, of course, and Lucky, who are already MCW guys. Yeah, quite true, Nick. Quite true.
Yeah. Okay. It's quite hard. So Nick gets around to a lot of the Melbourne feds. Who, Nick, would you put into that sort of main event picture that you could do that doesn't really get a light shone on them? Like Daniel Swagger.
Nick's already answered that. Yeah, he said maybe Daniel Swagger could be a fun challenger of the month. I haven't seen much of Swagger, but what I have has been really good. So you might be wondering where you can see this show. You can see this show on YouTube. Just search for Renegades of Wrestling. There it is. My one slight gripe about the show is the commentary.
Oh, okay.
I think they could sort out a dynamic a bit more. It just seems to be two blokes having a yarn. And I don't know if that worked for me personally. For me, I like to see a bit more character from either Beach or Jules, but they both seem to be almost the same.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because Jules can't go full heel because he's the ring announcer, and Beach can't really go full heel because he has to carry the water when Julian's doing the intros.
Yeah,
it's really kind of, you know what I mean? It's a hard balance for him to take. Like it's like with us with Pro League, we're a really easy balance because while Sebastian's up there doing ring announcing, I've still got Dink, who is a dyed-in-the-wool babyface, which allows me to be the heel. Whereas if it was just me and Seb, I don't quite know how I would fill that time when Seb's doing the ring intros without being a complete asshole with no one to counter me. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing. I'm sure that they'll work it out, or maybe they can just get a third mic.
Yeah,
who knows?
If they get a third mic and have a firm heel in, that'll be good. We've got some more comments. Nicolia says with the match with Crackers and his seeming face turn that Anth Caver is a super babyface who I'd go with. He already draws loud fan reactions to shows too. Quite true. Andy from Bob Fans Refrigeration. Hey, Andy, it's been a while. He says that. Long time no catch up. I was glad to see Mitch rock up. It felt like Emin's real challenger was even in Renegade. Wasn't even in Renegades, I think he means, until Mitch turned up. And Nick says he's surprised that no major fed in Melbourne has brought in Jab as a featured.
Do you know what's hard, though? Like, MC Dub can't really bring Jab in because they have a Jab in Dusky. Because he's very, very similar-ish sort of thing. I think he's amazing. I think Jab's amazing, and Jab just needs the right place for him to shine. where it's kind of hard. Like MCW, you've got that. Like if he went into, for instance, if he went into Renegades, I think it wouldn't be long till he started outshining like Emin. And that just because of his strength of character. His strength of character is really, really good. And he's just got the look. He's got that look that he looks like a star. He looks like a main event guy already, just through the whole package and how he looks. He's a good looking rooster as well, which doesn't hurt. So it's sort of like it's hard because I don't think there's a place in Melbourne that there's an actual like spot for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But if you want to know more about what Renegades are doing, and hello, Rose, how are you, mate?
That's Rose.
Yeah, Andy has said, I love that Renegades is providing a home for Melbourne talent who aren't getting a spotlight elsewhere. It shouldn't be limited to Melbourne, though. Everyone's aim should be able to find what MCW have in Delta. It's not just that. I think also, PCW have absolutely found so many stars. Look at Big Fudge. Before anyone else, look at what they've done with a character who 2 years ago was a bit of a joke and is now seen as a serious, great wrestler. I absolutely agree with you, Andy, but I think it's not limited to MCW. Nick Den said, personally, if we're bringing people in as great a lot of guys from said Fed are, I'd rather it not be a PWA person, but that's just you. They're occasionally oversaturation for me at times. I do agree with that as well.
Look, I know that this sounds like I'm just beating our own drum. We've got a lot of good baby faces up here in Queensland that could easily come down and do that role. Like Yeet. Can you imagine Yeet Stevens rocking up to Renegades?
Bobby.
The size of the guy? Bobby. Bobby is a fucking underdog baby face.
Bobby.
Perfect for that sort of role.
Even what's his name? The Croc Hunter. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Outback Adam.
Adam would be perfect.
Adam. Yes.
Adam would be perfect. So it's not just Queensland, but there's a lot of people around Australia that can be tapped into. But right now, I'm all in on this. And if you're all in on this, remember you can choose violence on Sunday, the 28th of July. It's an afternoon show. Listen to this lineup already announced: Gino against Crackers in a cage.
Gino against Hendricks, mate.
Gino against Hendricks in a cage. That's just shut up and take my money. I already started reading the next line, so I fucked up. Crackers against Tyson Reed. It's street fight rules. Chloe will be handcuffed. I think that's going to be fantastic. It's amazing how good Tyson Reed.
I like that added little touch too, of putting her in the handcuffs.
Yeah.
So it's not just a street fight, because I know that she's going to fucking interfere. So
well, here's
she's
the
in
question.
handcuffs.
Here's the question. She's in handcuffs. Is she handcuffed to somebody?
Well, I don't think so. Because the logical person has got a big match that night.
He does. Against someone. Who knows?
Someone.
Murdoch against Mitch Waterman. We'll start Mitch Waterman's trail of destruction from here. Look, I think this will be great. I don't think Murdoch's going to win, but I think it's going to be great. Murdoch is such a good wrestler. As long as he gets a cannonball off, I'm a happy boy. Go to renegadesofwrestling.com for tickets. Go to Renegades shows. They're beginning to have an audience, and it's fantastic to see. A lot of love for Solomon Blackwell. Of course, there's a lot of love for Solomon Blackwell. Isn't a great match on Saturday. Speaking of which, EPW Evolution 2024. It's now on Vimeo. See Jesse Lambert defend his EPW championship. I don't want to give spoilers. We're trying to sell the
Would you like me to do it? Would you like me to? No, it doesn't matter, because people have seen it online, so they know what the results are. If you're following EPW, you know what happened during the show.
Defend his EPW championship against Marcus Pitt and Alex Kingston. See the return of Taylor King, Edith Knight, and much more. Head over to Vimeo, search for EPW Perth, and see their full catalogues of shows from their 22-year history. You can really enjoy watching Davis Storm. That's all I'm going to say about that. World Series Wrestling, the Most Wanted Live is this weekend on Triller. You can pre-order now. It's $9.99 a show, or an incredible $29.99 for the whole bundle. I'm really looking forward to that. Stream Horizon has Bret Hart's Australian Stampede, Mickey James Her, both from April. They're free. Also, what is on there is MCW shows of last week. If you don't want to miss a show of ours, remember, subscribe on all of your podcast devices, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever else, LinkedIn. Look, we're probably on there.
Yeah. Before we go to break, let's talk through some of the stuff that's been going on in the chat, because we've been ignoring the chat for a little bit. So we'll start off with Nick. Nick's like, it's a shame logistics wouldn't work, but being he's a WA based guy, but Solomon coming back would be a great guy, surely. And that goes for most feds. Dude just has that something. Yeah, it's a real hamstring living in WA, but the benefits sort of outweigh the negatives for him, because look at the people that he gets to work with he's gone from Stormy, he's got Slats on the next show now.
Wow.
I mean, that's backing up. Like, if you would say that to a guy that's been in the business for what? I think this is his 3rd or 4th year. And he's backing up a match with Storm with a match with Slater. Like, he's the guy obviously that they've got a lot of investment in.
He's not just got it in ring. He's also amazingly lovely. Like, he came up to me on the night of the Super Show and just gave me the biggest hug. And I was like, you don't know me, man. And he's like, no, but I watch you every week.
Yeah. Don't ruin his gimmick. Don't ruin his gimmick, bro. He's cool. All right? He's cool. He's the only dude I know that can wear gumboots and you just go, yeah, that looks pretty good. I could probably.
Yeah, he makes it work.
And then someone's like, you couldn't pull that off, bro. Like, he can wear leather pants with gumboots and you go, that's annoying that looks good. It's annoying that looks good on you, bro.
I want to see him in socks and sandals, and just then I'll pass judgment.
He could do it with Crocs. It's a big call, but he could do it with Crocs. Nathan Hamlin said it's difficult because creating a good Fed with the same standards or hype MCW etc. have isn't an overnight thing. That's exactly right. Plus the best end up at the best Fed, so naturally MCW are overflowing with talent. That's true too. But the thing is that if you are a good booker, and the guys that are booking Renegades are really good bookers, part of the talent of being a good booker is being able to find those uncut gems and polishing them up. And then if they are good enough and they eventually go to like an MCW or something like that, that's cool, because you're already on the hunt for the next one.
Yeah.
That's the thing with MC. The MC Dub have done this thing where they had Delta for the last couple of years. She's gone now, so they're going to move somebody else into that role. We're going to see who it is in the coming months, but I'm damn sure that they've already got a plan about who that person's going to be, because they've been, while you're always keeping your eye on the present, but one eye always has to be on the future. One eye always has to be looking at what's next coming.
Sorry,
there's
Todd,
nothing coming around there, bro.
It was just dusk a couple of hours ago. Dusk hit a couple of hours ago. Yeah. What time is dusk in Queensland? No idea who they're looking at.
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
But you know what I mean?
Also pointed out that Edith and I got such a great pop. Huge love for her return, which is wonderful to hear, Nath. Thanks for chiming in all the way from Perth. And if you want to
I really want to watch that. So I'm hoping that we can maybe watch that for next week, possibly.
I'm trying. I'll put feelers out. I'm trying. And if you want to put feelers out on the right things and feel some nice material, don't forget to get yourself a Wrestle Radio Australia t-shirt. The money doesn't go to
I was wondering where you were going on that, and I was just he's pulled a very long bow, but let's see where this arrow lands.
I really did a Lachlan on that one, didn't I?
You really did. It's a long ride around to come back to where we need to be.
The money doesn't come to us. It goes to Beyond Blue. It goes to Gotcha for Life. Great charities that support people's mental health in this country. And as someone, and I've had my battles with mental health, I'm sure you have, Todd. Look, this year's been shit for me. I've lost 2 friends. I've lost a friend that I had for a decade and a friend that I'd met in April. And we'd already bonded. As Todd will tell you, like I hung out with Tony for an hour before the show, and he was sitting next to me at the wrestling having a chat before he left. He was a lovely bloke, and I miss him. Now, I miss him, and I miss knowing he's there, and I miss the idea that I was going to be doing festivals and Tony was going to show up and we'd have a laugh. Now, I don't know how he died, but if you're not sure, giving money to charities like Gotcha for Life and Beyond Blue helps. Maybe and maybe you don't ring those charities, but maybe you've thought about it, and even thinking about it means you should give it some love. So yeah, give us some love, buy some merch. Like I said, doesn't come to us. Want to give us more love? Give us a 5-star review. It gets us into more ears, and more people will come and join the conversation. Like Nathan. That change of subject by Jeff just gave me whiplash. Thanks, Rosie. This is why I'm not a wrestling commentator, mate.
This is why Lachlan normally hosts it.
Yeah, I know. And with what I've had my medicine, I'm swimming upstream. So we are going to take a short break while Rosie recovers from his whiplash. Anything you want to add, Todd, or are we out of here on a break?
No, we're out of here on a break, mate. Go and water yourself and stuff like that, and we'll be back.
I will do.
We're going to play a quick little thing from Delta, from saying goodbye from MCW, and then to a little bit of an ad, and we'll be right back after this.
See you soon.
I want to thank you all so much for supporting me throughout the years at MCW. This has been the best night to have my last show in MCW in Melbourne. This isn't goodbye forever. You will be seeing me soon. I love you all. Thank you so much.
I said I'm not sick, just slightly manic. I know your friends think you're probably so panic, but I got bad news. Look through the glass door. At 33, they'll probably settle for an awful. Serve up the poison, remove the halo. You're with the cool kids, so time to sit and lay low. You're just another sin in the hate club. Don't waste your time participating in the website. All my life, I've been forced to apologize. I feel bad for the conversation we had, but it's what you need, and there's no apologies.
Are you ready for a Renegades of Wrestling Championship match under tables, ladders, and chairs rules?
I feel bad for the conversation we had, but it's what you need, and there's no apologies.
Mitch Waterman is at Renegades of Wrestling, and he is going to go through the ambush one by one until he gets his hands on Evan Usman.
I want the best! Not a renegade! Not in Victoria! Not even Australia! In the whole damn world! I want the best!
And we are back. Well, I am back. Jeff has just stepped out for a second. I'll just remove him. There we go. I'll bring him back when he comes back. Yes, so remember, guys, renegadesofwrestling.com for tickets for that next show. It's going to be a massive show coming up. So we wonder who this guy is that's going to be challenging Gore. That's going to be very interesting to see. World Series Wrestling, of course, is on all over the weekend. It's on in, what is it? It's up here tomorrow night. It's in Brisbane tomorrow night or Friday night whenever you're listening to this. Then we got Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. I think it is in that order. I could be wrong. If you're in a city, you'll see where it is. Most of the tickets are sold out, so try and see if you can get a ticket if you're lucky enough to. I know that there's only a few left. I think there was like 4 left up here in Brisbane for that. So be lucky. You never know. You could be able to get it. I know I'll be on the show tomorrow night with my boys Mitch and Tim from Top Tier. So not quite sure what we're doing yet, but we're going to be doing something. Melbourne Saturday, Sydney Sunday. Thank you very much, Pario. And so is that what? That's Adelaide Monday then? Must be. Wow. So yeah, going to be a good weekend. Actually, I think Delta's on the show tomorrow night, so I might get to catch up with her, which would be nice. I might have some stories to tell next week. You never know. You never know your luck in a big city. So yeah, and as for like EPW, that looked like a really good show, and I messaged Davis on the Sunday just to check and see how his match was, and he was really happy with it. So if he's happy with a match, it's probably really, really good. So I'm definitely going to be on checking that out on their Vimeo, especially when you got the return of Taylor King. Like Edith Knight has come back from, I think, nearly a year off. So that'd be great to see as well. So much good stuff going on in Australian wrestling that it's good. It's also good to, with this World Series Wrestling, because you've got the people like you've got your Nick Nemeth coming over, you've got your Matt Cardona's coming over, you've got your, I'm just going to add Jeff in because he's just sat back down. Hello, Jeff. You've got your Elijahs or Elias or whatever the name he's going to go. You got those guys coming in. A lot of people who are your casual fans will be going to these shows, and hopefully they'll see the Aussie wrestlers on these shows and go, I wonder where they are wrestling locally. We should go and check that out. So there's always that chance that you as a industry can pick up a couple more fans to attend your shows, to attend your matches, to attend the stuff that you go to. So if you're at one of these shows and you're next to a fan that you obviously know don't go to like regular shows, let them know. And they're like, no, that guy works at like Renegades. You should come out and see one of those shows. It's amazing. Like, because I can't do it because I'm too busy like yelling at the referee to count 3 for my guys. So I don't get a chance to do that. So you guys can do that for me.
That guy works all over the country. Go to your local show. I just want to say one thing. I touched on it last time, but we are so lucky in this country to have had the last year and a half, 2 years of Delta being the phenom of Australian wrestling. And I say that because wherever she winds up, she's going to take over the world. And the nice thing is we can do we knew her when. And really, we've only been able to say that a couple of times so far in this country, but clearly we're making a mark on Australian wrestling. Do not sleep on Australian wrestling. Because I don't know who's next. Look, it could be almost anyone. It could be Solomon. It could be anyone that will be able to have that sense of pride in. And I think that it's really important that you don't sleep on it. Anyway, Todd, clap us back in. Let's get going.
All right. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Wrestle Radio Australia. I'm your temporary host, Ed Setti, while Lachlan is on training. He's working out for a match against Edward Dusk. We'll let you know when. Lachlan, if you're listening, I'll sign you up for it. All right, Todd, let's take it away.
If we only knew a booker.
Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I do, and maybe I know someone who's happy to have Dusky up in the territory he works in. territory. Jeez, I sound like an 80s wrestler there. Let's look at some WWE news. We'll come back to the second one. Lots of family stuff. The family of Cassie Lee and Sean Spears recently grew by one member. The couple welcomed the birth of their second child named Harley Dean on the 21st of June. Of course, Sean is currently in NXT doing great work, really enjoying his run at the moment. Also, sad news with Sika Anoa'i, a tag team legend, a pivotal member of one of pro wrestling's greatest families, has passed away at 79 years old. One of my earliest memories, was watching wrestling on Wide World of Sports, and when Sika came back for one of his later runs, I was like, God, the man's a maniac. But his son, Joe, otherwise known as Roman Reigns, is probably the biggest star in the industry right now. So, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We have new WWE World Tag Team Champions. They were crowned. They were crowned on WWE.
They were clowned.
They were cloned. There are now 4 of them. Finn Balor and JD McDonough, or Jordan Devlin of the Judgment Day, defeated the Awesome Truth and The Miz to win the tag team title.
Thank God.
Not without shenanigans, not without Liv Morgan, not without, but boy, it was a fun match. I had a blast. What did you think of the match, Todd?
I mean, it was a match. What I preferred about it, that whole Raw was a banger. Like, they had to back up how good. Like, SmackDown was really good, and I think that they backed it up that next week with the Raw. And I think Liv was in like 6 or 7 segments in that show. And yeah, exactly. Tim says hats off to Cole for flying solo. He did for a good 2/3 of that show.
He did a great job. I really liked him and Miz as well, I must say. I think if Miz ever hangs up the boots, or when Miz hangs up the boots, he's got a position. Like, they're going to be going, you can talk, you can be a heel or a face, come here. I really
100% that'll happen, I think.
I think so too. Obviously, I know I said it. But I really liked Cole Solo as well. Cole showed you how far he has come in a relatively short, non-tyrant amount of time. Like, the tyrant's not in his ear anymore, so he's relaxed and he's able to show us what he can do. And I'm really glad he can.
Look, those of us that sort of knew that he could do it, because when he didn't have old mate in his ear, he was great. Like, when he did the UK tournament, tournament with Nigel McGuinness over 2 nights. I think it was over 2 nights, or even one night. That was a really, really good thing. I was like, why does Cole sound so much better in this UK product than he does in this? It's because Triple H was producing it and wasn't in his ear, so he allowed him to develop his, do what he wanted to do and do his own style. And that's really what you have to do with these commentators. You've got to let them go out there and add their own something to it.
Well, we keep hearing that the staff and the morale within the company is a lot better. Even the boys, the wrestlers backstage are a lot happier since Trips has come in, over the tyrant. Speaking of trips and deals and things, sorry about your neck there, Rosie. WWE have announced a groundbreaking deal to bring 3 major shows to Indianapolis. WWE revealed that on Monday, the 2025 Royal Rumble will take place at Lucas Oil Stadium on February 1, 2025. The stadium in Indianapolis will host a future 2-night SummerSlam and a future 2-night WrestleMania. In terms of when they will be hosted by Indianapolis, WrestleMania 41 in 2025 is already set for Las Vegas. SummerSlam 2026 has been announced for Minneapolis. Location for SummerSlam 2025 has not been confirmed as yet. I'm here to actually announce it. My place. They're just coming around.
Albury Wodonga is for 2026.
Yeah, Albury Wodonga set up a ring in the great inn that I stay in whenever I'm in Albury, hosting Blood on the Clock Tower.
It was the funniest name I could think of. I don't know why. Yeah. It's the funniest name in Melbourne I could think of.
Cooper Petey. They're gonna
but I was just saying, I like the feeling just that Donga.
Donga. It's almost like you're Santo Chiloro on Tonga.
Tonga.
Anyway, I digress, and thanks again for the tapes, Nick. Look, this is all really good. I'm excited. I think having cities bid for the American-based things is really smart. Financially, this makes sense, and it makes sense for Indiana to space them out, and I'm sure that's what they're going to do.
Well, apparently, because I was listening to Pollock and Thurston today, because like if you want to listen to a good in the weeds like business side of wrestling podcast, those two are really good. Like Pollock and Thurston are really good for that. Apparently, it's a 7-year deal, so they've got 7 years to put this like SummerSlam or WrestleMania or whatever, and that's the model that they want going forward with every one of those things. They want people to as an instance, because I was reading this week about like Double or Nothing, AEW Double or Nothing. It cost them when they applied for tax breaks for, I think it was Las Vegas where they held it. They said that it cost them 3-point-something million to, like, that was their costs for running in Vegas over that like Dynamite Collision pay-per-view. And their ticket sales were only like $500,000. So, like, their pay-per-view sales sort of have to make up the rest of that. But if you've got a company or a town bidding for you to come in and paying you, say, $2 million to come in, that's 2/3 of your budget already counted for. So that's like you're making money hand over fist, especially if you're someone like WWE who are already making money hand over fist to begin with. So it's a really smart idea for them to do it, and it's also the UFC type model as well. Like that part is what's really helping them, is that they're adopting these things.
Well, I mean, WWE made money on Elimination Chamber before a single ticket was sold. It's a fact, and that includes paying everybody, carting the sell down here, everything. Of course, there is one more piece of WWE-related news. It's also AEW-related news, in that friends of the show, I can say that, she's been on the show, Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews got married over the weekend. I don't know if either of them listen, but if you do, congratulations to the lovely couple. The photos are hilarious, with everything in black and some red and black and white roses held by the couple. There are some photos doing the rounds on social media, and they're all delightful and lovely. There were messages from everyone. Dom, of course, sent a really nice black-hearted message with some high tens. Dominic is very funny on social media, by the way. If you don't follow Dom Mysterio on social media, do. He's hilarious. But yeah, that's kind of lovely. Well, anything to add on that point, Tom?
No, nothing except for congratulations. I'm very happy that they found each other. They're like, Demi's just an amazing person. Like one of the nicest people. Like, when you look at her from the outside, you don't realize how nice she is on the inside. Like, nice of a person as she is on the inside. And like, just seeing the photos that we saw, because we're like friends with her on Facebook. My wife just comes, she goes, "Of course she wore black. Why wouldn't she wear black?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, that's Dems. That's Dems all over." I'm surprised she didn't wear jeans.
I will add that she's a star who doesn't act like a star. Like,
no.
She's an absolute star, but walking around in Perth and seeing her in that media room, she was just chilling out, having a laugh with people, Yeah, absolute legend, and really, really happy for them both. And once or twice I've met Silver, he's tops as well, but he's great as well. So we should move on to the WWE Money in the Bank lineup set for Sunday, July 7 our time, Saturday, July 6 if you are in Toronto at the Scotiabank Arena, I'm sorry. The World Heavyweight Championship, Damian Priest defends against Seth Rollins. Now, if Priest retains, Rollins cannot challenge for the title ever again. As long as Priest holds it, that's an important coda. If Rollins wins, Priest leaves Judgment Day. Can we get a prediction here, Todd?
Until they threw that little wrinkle in, I just thought that Priest was going to defend this thing. I'm not quite sure now. This could be a very easy way to get him out of Judgment Day without really any fuss. Especially if, say, Liv Morgan comes in to cause him to lose. Because let's face it, Liv Morgan, like the only person that's really standing between her and sort of taking over the Judgment Day at the moment is kind of Damian Priest. If you think about it, because like she bought them all these presents. She helped Finn and JD win the tag titles. She got like Dominic a match with Ray the next, like this week on Raw. She's done all this other stuff, and I'm not talking about just the text messages either, but just all this stuff. Like Carlito obviously thinks she's cool. So like the only one who's really still been standing very firm, or like you need to go away, has been Damian.
No cultural appropriation there. Look, I don't know either. I think this is so interesting, and then we could find out that she's in cahoots with old mate after all, with Pierce. You know, she could be in cahoots with Pierce the whole time. You know, the whole thing has so many. Well, because she's getting all these shots for Judgment Day.
Oh, okay.
So it could, you know, there's several ways they could go.
Yeah. I don't know. Like for a minute there, I was thinking maybe Finn is going to be the dark horse here. Because Finn took the hotel key.
I think Finn is going to cause. I think Finn is going to cause Rollins to lose it. You know.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it could go lots of ways. This also could go either way. Sami Zayn is defending the Intercontinental Championship against Bron Breakker. I don't fucking know. Like, I've got no idea who's going to win this.
Man, because Sammy's been Sammy. And, like, if he smells like smoke, it's because he's been through fire for the last, 6 months. But the way that they've booked Bron Breakker, are you going to book him as strong as you have to have him lose to Sami Zayn in this way? Unless Ricochet comes back and does something.
That's possible too. I mean, it's awfully quick for him to win the title, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does. Cody Rhodes.
Well, the way he's... So before you go on, because the way that they've booked him, the way that they've kept him so strong, it's very likely that they give him the title to see how this goes, to see how he runs through it.
And
because it's the best way to see how a guy's going to go. The worst mistake that some promotions make are not capitalizing when people are hot. And then eventually they burn out and they're like, oh shit, what happened? He was hot. Why didn't he? Because you waited so long, you never pulled the trigger on the guy. So it died out. Bron's one of those guys that maybe you do this. Maybe he does the whole Ultimate Warrior fucking Intercontinental title run before he moves up to the main belt.
That'd be great. One thing I'll note is that Bron and Ludwig Kaiser, what year is it? Had a match on Monday night.
Tony Holm came back.
We don't need that right wing god. Fuck with back. But Kaiser was injured in that match. I don't know if Kaiser and Sheamus are still wrestling on July 6th. I hope so, because Kaiser is so interesting.
Yeah, well, they pulled Kaiser. They pulled Kaiser from the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah,
Dragunov is taking his place. Yeah, Dragunov is taking his place.
Which
holy shit!
Go figure.
Drew versus Sheamus versus Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah.
That's on what, SummerSlam? I mean, SmackDown this week?
I'm giving you all my money. Yeah, I think it is on SmackDown this week. Fuck me. Or it could be on Raw next week. Either way, amazing. Next match, also amazing. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens against the Bloodline. There are 4 members of the Bloodline. 3 of them are going to be in the match. What's going to happen?
Yeah. I think they're doing poor bloody what's his name? Tonga Loa. They're doing him dirty, I think. Because I can't see any of the other three stepping out of this match.
The only possibility I can see is Solo being on the outside and Roman coming back and beating the absolute shit out of him.
I think it's too soon.
You think it's too soon? I think they've got to hold it. I think they've got to end this in a schmoz and hold that back.
The thing is that they've still got another guy to debut for the Bloodline.
Yes, they do.
Like Hikuleo still hasn't come out yet.
Neither is Lachlan Albert.
Yes. I don't think he's quite the Bloodline. If he's the Bloodline, he's like the Sami Zayn version of it.
He is.
But it's like it's like that is going to be an absolute cracker of a match. Does Randy turn on Cody at the end? Like, I know that everyone's reading a lot more into it than what it is. But does that happen? Do they debut Hikuleo? Do they get the win over Cody if there's like somehow they set it up that Solo like pins Cody, which gives him like impetus to say, I deserve a title shot. I pinned your ass.
Here's the Hawk Girl. I don't think that. So yes, I remembered that. I don't think that they're going to have Randy straight turn on Cody yet.
I think it's too soon.
I think they're really going to build that slower. But it's going to be superb. Also, what else is going to be superb? You put Jey Uso, Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, and two blokes called TBD. So 2 more spots to be determined. In the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, I can see Chad Gable winning this.
Yeah, it depends who the other two are, but like, it's wow, because you don't know if Drew's going to qualify. But even if Drew does, maybe Punk comes back and ruins that for him. Who knows?
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, because I'm not quite sure what the other two qualifying matches are. I've got a feeling that one is a qualifying match, and then the third one will be like everyone who went for a qualifying match will go into a like battle royal or something for the last spot. Because I think they've done that before in other cases, which I wouldn't hate. I don't mind that idea, like a second chance lottery, so to speak. Same thing with like the like Jey Uso and Chad Gable would have to be two of the two guys you would be thinking of.
Yeah. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match. There's still one more name. There's 3 names to be added, but they'll be going up against Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria. Are they going to do it? Are they just going to give it straight to Lyra?
I don't know. They seem to really like her.
She got huge reactions on Monday as well. When she won that match,
they pushed it to the final of the King of the Ring. They have done all this stuff. Did you see the thing where like Chelsea said there was this whole thing going around X that like if Chelsea wins, she might cash it in on the Divas title. Being that there's no one that holds the Divas title, she could just say that she's the Divas champion.
So funny. She's so funny. Another great one to follow on your social media. Let's move to AEW. We've got some AEW news. Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii.
No, don't read the result. I accidentally put the result in.
Are going up against TMDK's Robbie Eagles and Shane Haste on Collision this week. It is so good to see Robbie continue to spread his wings. You thought I was an idiot, didn't you? You thought I was just going to ruin your party, but we'll move on. Shane McMahon in AEW? Tony Khan.
What?
Yeah. Tony Khan told Sports Illustrated, I heard the rumor he might be interested, said Khan. I've never met Shane, but we have a lot of mutual friends. I have a lot of respect for him as an executive and a professional wrestler. He clearly didn't watch last year's WrestleMania. Shane is always welcome in AEW, and I'll give him a big hug.
I didn't see that last bit, but there you go. Do you know what I love though? Like, and somebody put it up, and it made me laugh. Is it like it was like AEW fans 6 months ago. Shane knew all about this. Shane should be hung. Like today, Shane in AEW, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's like that made me lull. I don't know what they would do. What would you do with him? Like, he's not going to be a wrestler.
No, he
He's
can't
not going to
wrestle
be.
again. He cannot.
What's he going to do?
Surely.
Like, what's he going to do? Somebody bought the TV rights to Collision, and the name was McMahon, but it wasn't Vince. It was me. What's he going to do?
I don't know. I think they're going to have him as the figurehead. El Presidente, because he can take a bump better than.
I don't see him coming in. I don't see.
Keanu,
I can't envision a world where somebody in AEW would be talking about a McMahon on the show.
Keanu, that has popped me huge. Shane versus Darby, uppercase through the glass. Yeah, probably, except Shane will have to sub out at some point and have Snoop Dogg wrestle. Tony Schiavone started today's show with Taz and Excalibur. By the end of Dynamite, he was no longer around. When someone asked regarding his whereabouts on X, Schiavone revealed that he had lost his voice, something he had been struggling with since the weekend. Also, Jim Ross, sadly,
I noticed
has been dealing with some health issues. On Tuesday, he announced he was back in hospital after having difficulty breathing. He had previously planned on being at Forbidden Door after being unable to attend Double or Nothing due to other health issues. That's really sad. Like, I hope Jim Ross gets better and we see him back in some capacity soon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but and unfortunately, he's getting to that age where these things are going to happen. Ooh. So it's just like
absolutely.
He's been battling like cancer on his leg for God knows how long, like getting that burnt off and the thing with Tony, like I noticed I think it was about halfway through the show, his voice just started going, just out of nowhere, just started cracking and was really, really. Next thing you know, he was just gone, and it was Excalibur and Taz for the second half of the show, which I don't mind. I think Excalibur and Taz are the team. They don't need a third. They're great.
I agree with you. By and large, I agree with you, but I do like it when McGuinness is with them as well, especially when Bryan Danielson is wrestling, because McGuinness really rags on Bryan Danielson a lot. This Monday is AEW Forbidden Door. The World Championship, Shane Strickland defends against William Ospreay. Who's going to take that one?
William Ospreay. I would assume Swerve. If they give it to Will, then I think they're pulling the rug out from poor Swerve.
I think Swerve, because I think they're saving it to give it to Will in England. That's it. Simple.
The problem, they can't do it, though. They can't give it to him in England. Like, not this year anyway.
Why?
Because the winner of the Owen becomes the number one contender and gets that shot at All In.
Oh, no. You know what I'm thinking? Will Ospreay might be the...
No, because it's going to be fucking Hangman.
Yeah, it probably will. I just,
because the Young Bucks said they're the ones that are making the call, so it's going to be Hangman coming back. That was my only problem with. Sorry, go on.
If you guys haven't heard, and you're probably going to talk further to this, Jeff Jarrett put a beautiful promo up about his friendship with Owen Hart. That's essentially what it was about, acknowledging that he is by and large a heel. This was an incredible piece of work and will choke you up. Just a warning, you will get choked up because he is so emotional about Owen still. And it was quite beautiful. Anyway.
And see, that's my issue with him being in the... Like, first of all, I made a joke about it, like saying one of these things are not like the other when you saw the rest of the card. And, like, I knew the fact that, like, Owen and Jeff were really good friends. And if you were going to do that, why wouldn't you book it so Jeff got further through the tournament? Because we all know he's losing in this first round.
Yeah.
So you're doing this big heartfelt thing, and then he's going to drop out in the first round. And then you've pretty much burnt every bit of heel heat he had because everyone just feels bad for him. But what's he going to do as a babyface? I don't think he can do much as a babyface.
Rosie has yelled out, I'm not yelling at Rosie, but I'll say it, mate. Robbie Eagles for the wildcard spot. Yeah, no doubt. I think Australia would love to see that. I don't think
Robbie is still after Wheeler Yuta for the pure title.
Yeah.
And your God bless him.
Wrestler.
I enjoy the fact that he doesn't like him as much as I don't. This is why Robbie's a good... I fucking can't stand that guy.
You love him. tardy. Moving on, the ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship. Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry versus Leo Rush versus Dante Martin versus the guy who's also absent from Money in the Bank, TBA.
I love how shocked you are when you read Leo Rush. Leo Rush?
I thought he quit like 7 times.
Well, he has a couple of times. That's the thing. That's the thing about it. But we all know this is fucking Jack Perry's thing.
Oh, Jack Perry's winning it. Absolutely. The AEW Women's Championship, Toni Storm defends against Mina Shirakawa.
I think you missed one, brother.
Hmm?
You missed one. The title for title.
I did. Title for title. Yeah, I keep missing that one. Title for title, TBS champion Mercedes Moné against New Japan Strong Women's champion Stephanie Vaquer. Mercedes.
Yeah, I can't see that it wouldn't be her.
Back to our scheduled programming. AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm against Mina Shirakawa.
They filmed a nice little angle today which shed more intrigue on what will be going on because Mina went to hit Tony with a bottle of champagne and Tony ducked and she hit old mate. What's her name?
Mariah.
I'm having a blank. Mariah. She hit Mariah. So that adds a little bit more into this story going forward.
Tony's a full-on face now, isn't she? Like, they've absolutely just gone.
It depends on the week. Don't ask Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez because they legit nearly got into a punch-up this week over it on Wrestling Observer.
Got
into a punch-up.
I'm having a Simpsons reference of Barney yelling out Pit the Elder and punching someone.
Yeah.
The IWGP.
No, she should be. She should be. But do you know what the problem is? Mina's pretty fucking entertaining herself.
Oh, they're both very entertaining. The
like
IWGP.
Tony is going to 100% steal her from Stardom.
Oh, yeah.
He's 100% going to steal her.
Yeah, as he should. The women's division in AEW has improved out of all sides.
Oh, it has. Like the problem has not been the roster of AEW. We've been saying this week after week. The roster ain't the problem here. It's the ringmaster that's the problem.
Steve Austin's in AEW. Anyway, IWGP World Heavyweight title. Jon Moxley is defending against Tetsuya Naito. You know, I love this, but they're really not, you know.
Do they give Tetsuya the match? Do they give him the belt? Because he actually came out this week and said, if Moxley beats me at Forbidden Door, I will give him my spot on the G1 as well.
Oh, you see, there's intrigue now.
Yeah. So, because and I think we talked about it last week, it's not been very many times that the IWGP champion has not been in the G1.
And here's the issue. Moxley is smart. He knows when to go away. And right now, if he's off AEW for a month, when he comes back for a month to 6 weeks, when he comes back, those fans will pop. Huge.
Yeah, but do you sit Naito out of the G1? If you're New Japan.
If you're New Japan.
If you're New Japan, you look after New Japan business.
Mm.
And if you're going to draw more people with Naito instead of fucking Jon Moxley, you go, hey, do you know what? Let's change the belt here.
But maybe there's a way. I don't know. This could go either way. Oh, something else that could go either way is the Owen Hart Foundation men's quarterfinal match. Bryan Danielson against Shingo Takagi. Yeah.
Danielson's winning this fucking thing.
I think so.
He's winning the whole thing.
Yeah. MJF against Hachikaro.
Yep, that will happen.
That'll happen. MJF's winning that. Zack Sabre Jr. against Orange Cassidy. That'll be good.
Yes, that would be good.
That'd be really good.
We've got 11 matches here. I'm still trying to find a way that TMDK can get in there.
Yeah, well, let's keep our fingers crossed. Do we no longer think that Bryan versus Nigel is happening at Wembley?
Do you know what? The funny thing is that I actually had this discussion with Kate this week from Fightful. Yeah. Because we were talking about the tournament. The only other way we can see it, I can see it working out, is that Hangman wins the tournament, because then you set up Hangman and Strickland at All In, because that's a feud that has been building for a long time, and they're still at logs. There's nothing was really resolved from that sort of thing. So that main like headlining the pay-per-view at All In, I can see being a decent, like, Strickland Hangman AEW World Title. That's a good match. Danielson and Nigel, that's also a match that's like a dream match. But the thing is, and this is something that we talked about with Kate, and she sort of like, she said, well, this could be the issue, and I hadn't even thought about it, is that with Nigel's hepatitis, if there's a flare-up, he just can't be cleared.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've always got that worry leading into it that he could have a flare-up a month out or whatever. It's like having epilepsy. Like, you can't have a driver's license if you've had a fit within, I think it's 5 years or 3 years.
It's 5 years because
5 years.
I will disclose this. I had juvenile epilepsy, and I couldn't get my license until I was in my mid-20s. And then I had a reoccurrence just after Mum died, and I called my neurologist and said, what should I do? And he said, you can't drive for 5 months. You need to just make sure it's not going to reoccur again. He said, I empathize with you. I think I know why it happened. But nonetheless, we need to be careful.
Yeah. So I think it might, and I know it's nothing like it, but it could be like that, where, like, if you've had it, you can't, if you have a flare-up, then you just can't be cleared for X amount of months. So they can book it, but there's always a danger that it could be just, it could shit the bed within, like, the month of or something like that. Who knows? I want to see the match personally because I think it'd be great.
It'd be great. I do too. Tim said Danielson's on borrowed time by his own words. He's on borrowed time because he wants to be home with his family. That's why he's on borrowed. He could wrestle for another 5 years.
But for Nigel, I want him to have this because he got so close to WWE. And if you ever watch that documentary, it's one of the saddest documentaries I've ever watched. If you're a wrestling fan, because you can tell his heartache, and you can tell he's like. You can tell, like, he banging his head up against the wall. Even though after that he became Desmond Wolfe and did that little bit in TNA, it was still not the same as what he wanted, his dream. And so this would be amazing for him.
He's a good news story because he did manage to make it to WWE. Yes, as a commentator.
Yes.
And he was very good, but he still lived that part of his dream. Moving on, the Elite, Kazuchika Okada versus the Young Bucks, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the Acclaimed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The scissor race.
Yeah.
It gets them on the card. And, like, we get to see Okada and Tanahashi again for a little time, which would be cool.
Yeah. And then the Learning Tree. Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and someone against Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata.
See, I would have thought that would have been old mate Bounty Hunter, but obviously they must be bringing in a Japanese worker for this.
Yeah, I think they are.
But then I saw something like Suzuki was calling out Jericho.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's right, because Suzuki was going to be the third man. The 0 Hour, Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe against Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano. Look, I think it's going to be Chris because you want to continue the intrigue with her and Willow. And Chris is great for the heel. She's working really well. Yeah,
this is probably the match that it's one of the matches I'm actually looking forward to seeing because there's something going into it.
Yeah, they're shoving up the 0 Hour. Well done, Tone.
Yeah.
I think this will be fine. Look, I'll probably watch it because reasons. Yeah. It'll be fine.
Because we're wrestling fans and we can't not watch it.
Exactly. So, look, that'll be fine. Of course, something that's also fine are what we liked from this week. And we liked our chicken salad. Todd, what's your chicken salad?
Are we going to do the good stuff first?
We'll do the
good stuff. You're going to end on a downer,
actually, no. What we don't like
we have a pattern here, bro.
The shit. And there are several things that have been shit this week. Tom, what's your chicken shit?
Mate, can you go first? Because I'm trying to remember what mine is. My CT is kicking in. Oh, great. That's just joy.
Some weeks you've got to go first, brother.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Okay, here's one just from today. They've pretty much already booked MJF versus Daniel Garcia for All In. Why? Because MJF said, I want to give you a match. That's what the story is. Hang on. What does Pario think my chicken shit is? I'm dying to know what this one is. Please inform me what my chicken shit is this week.
Last week, Jamie.
Maybe I can go off on it. Maybe I can go off on it. You can get me on one.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Please tell me.
We're holding up the
we're holding up the show just for you now, mate. This is on your.
Come on, Pario. Deliver, brother.
You want to be smart about this? A certain promotion with more international stars.
Yeah, New Japan hires all these Japanese people.
Holy shit! Well, look, there was a tweet I put up this morning, and it was about because we just finished talking about AEW and all that thing. So it's about like Forbidden Door, not really being Forbidden Door, the fact that you have New Japan wrestlers and Stardom wrestlers and that on your show, like weekly leading up to the show, and like versing the people that they're going to be versing, really takes a specialness away from what Forbidden Door is. Oh, that, yes, no, sorry, I know what you're talking about, Pario, and it's not worth the breath anymore.
You can tell me afterwards.
Yeah, but it just takes the specialness away because, I don't need to see like Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa because they've been in and out of each other's. Like I've seen her work. I've seen her been working for the last couple of weeks on. Like they give away the big Mina Shirakawa is coming to Forbidden Door, but first we're going to have her on Collision, then we're going to have her on Rampage, then we'll have her on Dynamite. So she's basically a roster member by the time Forbidden Door hits. And it's the same with a lot of these on the card. Like Stephanie Vakua had a match during one of the shows. Takagi was on today's Dynamite. Like they literally did a Forbidden Door match on today's Dynamite. They did LIJ against bloody Blackpool Combat Club on Dynamite on a fucking Wednesday. It's just that it's taking away from the specialness of what it could be. And you should do it where you don't touch until that show. Because it's a Forbidden Door. It's forbidden until this one night of the year.
Todd.
Yes.
Todd, the door is shut, but mofos are crawling in through the windows now. Come on. Give Tony a break. Poor Tony.
Oh, well, look,
Tony has
mate, when it comes to the Forbidden, AEW is like fucking Hotel California. You can walk in, but none of them hardly ever walk out.
You can check out at any time you like, but you can never leave. I think for me...
Look, Pario says promos and videos are totally fine. Look, if you had two New Japan people working each other on the show, that's cool. That's something you could say, here's a New Japan match. One of these guys is going to be against Jon Moxley. Like, you could do, say, like a Naito against, I don't know, Tanahashi. I know that's giving away a massive match. But you could do that on a Dynamite or something and say, hey, Naito's versing Jon Moxley. Tanahashi's against the Elite. This is what's going to happen at the pay-per-view. What will happen when these two people from a different promotion who never normally work these other guys face each other at the pay-per-view? You want to pay to see that.
Yeah. Well, it's...
Sorry.
You want to put an ass in seats every 18 inches. It's the...
Yeah.
For mine, I am positive that Forbidden Door will be an excellent pay-per-view. But do I give two cups of fuck? No. No, I don't care. Tony, I know you're just a matchmaker, but just matchmaking doesn't lead to audiences caring about wrestling. You know, it's really hard to care. The characters and people we as an audience seem to care about, you don't seem to put on TV. Miro, Danhausen, who else? I mean, there's a lot of others that aren't injured. Daniel Garcia.
Well, Danhausen doesn't work there anymore. He's out of contract. He's gone.
Jesus Christ. You know, yeah, we're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a great show. I'll watch it on Monday night and go, that was fine. Tim Wilkes,
there was something there was something I was listening to today, which I think it was Pollock and Thurston that they were talking about today, because they were talking about how Dynamite last week only drew 502,000 people. And a lot of them were blaming because it was Juneteenth and Lamar, like Kendrick Lamar's concert, and also the Big Bang Theory didn't lead them in, so they didn't have a massive lead in for the yada 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 yada. John Pollock made this thing, had this theory where he talked about the problem for AEW at the moment is that everywhere at the moment is some really good quality matches. So you need that little extra thing that AEW just can't do it. They just don't do it. And that is the Wyatt Six, the Liv Morgan, the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I could just name 3 or 4, like Drew and Punk, the Bloodline. There's all these things I'm naming off the top of my head about stories going through these shows that I can't really do for AEW at the moment. Like, what is the big blood feud at the moment with AEW? That has any real feeling to it.
Mina Shirakawa and Tony Storm.
That would be as close to them and maybe Statlander. Yeah, I know them and maybe Statlander and Willow.
Yeah. I'm not joking.
All the others, there's not really, and that's the thing that's like if you can go to WWE, and this is not me being a WWE shill, if you can go to WWE and you can see 1 or 2 or 3 good matches on the show, but I'm getting all this other stuff as well, I'm probably going to watch that over watching like 5 really good matches, but I don't really have any extra feeling for them. I don't have any investment in it.
Yeah. It's so hard to have
that when I heard that, I was like, wow, that makes a really good point.
You know that it's not going to be a bad show. You just know that it's going to be a slog to watch. It really will. It'll be a slog. There'll be moments where I'm going, do I care about this match? The learning tree. Like, I love Joe Hook and Katsuyori Shibata. They are freaking hilarious. But I don't want to watch Chris Jericho fight. My other chicken shit is actually that AEW only drew 502,000 people. That is really worrying. No matter how you shake it, it is so
it tells
worrying.
me that that's the size of their core audience. That will watch through thick and thin, through everything, through all the stuff that they said, well, this happened because this happened because this, and this happened because Kendrick Lamar did a concert and the Big Bang Theory didn't lead them in, and that too, like the Big Bang Theory, saying that the Big Bang Theory didn't lead them in tells me that they weren't drawing that many people to start with, but they were bringing up the average for that first 15 minutes. Like the first 15 minutes of AEW generally brings up the average for the rest of the show, because if you ever look at the graphs that Thurston put up, it's like it goes like that through the show, or sort of like that. It's never builds up at certain areas and never does any of that. So that tells me that like maybe 500,000 are the core audience, and I think that from a year ago would have been 700,000.
Yeah,
would have been their core audience, because there's been public holidays before. There's been Thanksgivings. There've been other things. There've been other times where the Big Bang Theory didn't lead them in, and they still did decent numbers. That's the worrying thing about it.
Tim Wilkes says his chicken shit is the AEW fans trashing WWE just because it's not AEW. Yeah, I got to agree with you. Andy says, "What do we know what AEW is? I think. Do I care about the stories? Nah. Will I watch the pay-per-view knowing I'll get 2 to 3 amazing matches? Hell yeah." Keanu reminds us that Tony only makes wrestling for the sickos who only watch for matches. Beetle Bailey says, I like to see promotions working together, but it's got to be rare. Citing, do the story, leave it for another few months, and maybe bring in another star. Completely agree. Keanu, my chicken salad. Oh, should we talk chicken salad? What did you like?
Yeah, let's talk chicken salad. Because my chicken salad is pretty much the same as Keanu's. That was definitely one of the chicken salad because I thought it was brilliant. So well produced.
So beautiful.
So well done. It's quite easily the best. Sorry, and for those, because people can't see the chat if they're looking. Keanu said, my chicken salad was going to be a Howdy Bo interview. It was beautiful, dark, sad. Just so many emotions and beautifully shot too. Yeah, that was just... And it has been the best promo that Bo, I think, has ever done. And I want to see now for these next 4 weeks the stories of all the other guys now. I want to see what Joe Gacy's story is and why he's gone to this. It's less supernatural and more like we've had some tragedy and we're making other people pay for our sadness now. Do you know what I mean? That's what it felt like with Bo's just like, I'm gonna do this. That's what the whole thing with Gable is like. Gable turned on his family, so they're going to target someone who turns on their family.
It's interesting. It's so interesting.
It's I love that. I think that's so good.
That's part of my chicken salad, and the other part was actually the Gable bit backstage, where he walked up and kind of apologized for being such a dick, but then bumped into the Creeds and Ivy Nile, which
But you could tell he was being like he wasn't being genuine with that.
Oh, he was being so sanctimonious.
And everybody thought, like I thought that Otis was going to give him one more shot. I really thought that was going to happen. But then to see Otis turn him down and just go, "No, you hurt my family. I can't do that." Yeah. I'm just like, "Thank you. It's a left hook I wasn't really expecting. That's brilliant. Thank you for doing that."
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. And of course, the other piece of chicken salad is the marriage. Is Rhea and Buddy getting married, which is kind of lovely.
I'll also say this week, Zack Sabre and there was the match that Robbie turns up in, Zack Sabre Jr. and Kyle O'Reilly. Really good fucking match. Of course, it was going to be a really, really good match.
And if you want a really good match, it is Wrestle Radio Australia and your ears. Oh. You can come along to twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio AU. You see, Lachlan got nothing on me sometimes. You can listen to us on all podcast apps and podcast houses. We are everywhere. And don't just listen to us. Give us the 5-star review. It gets us in more ears. And you can wear some of the great clothes that are produced by the Wrestle Radio Australia family, including our 10th anniversary shirt. It's still available. It's got our heads on there, along with some very special guests, including people like Davis Storm, and so on and so forth. We are back each and every week at 8 p.m. on Thursday nights, Eastern Time. We've had a lot of fun tonight. A lot of great people have popped in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that. We wait to talk to you again next week. Todd, you got anything to add?
If you are in Brisbane and you can maybe scrounge the tickets, World Series Wrestling will be there tomorrow night myself with my Chargers, Mitch Ryder and Tim Hayden, tearing down the house because that's what the local boys are going to do. We're going to show these internationals how to wrestle a fucking match around here. If you want to watch it, it's on Triller at $9.99 if you just want to watch one show. I would suggest you pay the $30 and you've got you get to see the whole tour. Because you're going to see like wrestlers from not only your Zigglers and all that good stuff and Hammerstone. I forgot Hammerstone was going to be on till the other day. I love Hammerstone.
Will be fun.
Not only are you going to see those guys, but you're going to see the best of Australian wrestling there as well. So it's always a good thing to. What was that?
Lachlan Albert.
Lachlan's also on the call for the Brisbane show.
Lachlan's doing commentary.
So. Yeah, please do go and check us out. And if you do, give us a review. Tell us how bad we were. Especially
and check out
that would be definitely
check out a lot of the Aussie. Check out a lot of the Aussie wrestling that's actually also free on YouTube. Things like Renegades that we mentioned earlier. Things like Riot.
If you're listening to the podcast, the link for the Renegade show will be in the notes for the podcast, so you can just easily watch the show just by going to the notes and clicking on the link.
and things like Riot City Wrestling, and of course next weekend is Delta's farewell match. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
I
go
can't
and
be
sell
there.
that joint out. Go and sell that joint out.
I think it's already done. I can't be there, sadly, but amazing, fantastic. That's been the poor man's Dave Meltzer, Todd Eastman. I've been the poor man's Adam Hills, Jeff Setti. That'll do.
You've got two legs. You can't be the poor man.
You can follow Todd. The views and opinions of Todd Eastman are his and his alone. You can follow Todd at Beast Eastman. You can follow me at Jeff_Setti. You can follow Russell Brainer at Russell_Brainer. Get some t-shirts, get some clubber on you. We'll catch you next week. Thank you so much for stopping by. For Todd Eastman,
next week, everybody.
And Lachlan Albert, I've been Jeff Setti. Good night.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken